Peace and blessings to you all, beautiful people, and welcome back to yet another video. I hope that you are well. For those of you who are new here, my name is Nicole, and I like to come on here once a week and just share messages of guidance using either cards or using just intuitive messages that I feel are important to be shared with the collective at this time, as we just continue going through all these crazy shifts. So in the recent videos, I've been talking a lot about the darkness, and one of the reasons I have been feeling called to talk about the darkness is because few of us really understand the enemy that we are fighting. Remember, we are going through spiritual warfare, and what is happening in the world on an individual level as well as a collective level is basically just we're coming up to, I don't know, like an explosion point where things cannot continue going on as they are. Something is about to change. And many of us are continuing to move around, as if business is going on as usual. And yet we have to remember and understand that everything is made up of energy. When we look at the world in terms of energy and frequency, we see the world through a totally different lens, because again, we have been taught to focus more on the physical world, when really the spiritual world is way more powerful and really what dominates this physical reality. And so the more we connect to a spiritual practice and connect to our own spirituality, the easier it will be to navigate through these changes and through this time of transition, because we are moving more towards the spiritual. What is happening is that Mother Earth is taking back her power. And we have known, especially through religion, we have been living in a world where the patriarchy has been dominating. And we can see this easily in that the system is built on tricking the mother to abuse her children. And that is what the matrix system is about. It is about tricking the mother. Because at the end of the day, when mothers are the nurturers and the lovers, and they will do anything for their children. Of course, now I'm generalizing, and one of the reasons why mothers don't do the best for their children is because they too have been traumatized. And really what is happening in the world is that everyone has been totally traumatized because this system is built on trauma. And some of you may have heard of trauma-based mind control. Essentially meaning that when we are traumatized, and we can literally say that every single person on this planet is traumatized, because we have all experienced childhood trauma in one form or another. And now again, I just want to highlight here, because there are different forms of trauma. Most people, when they think about trauma, they think about a blunt force injury, either a horrific car accident or some kind of horrific accident. Whereas trauma takes on many different forms, and especially when a child is not nurtured and protected, that is trauma. If the child is not living in a home that is safe and where the child is nurtured and where the child is loved and protected, then that child has been traumatized. And remember, our brains are not fully developed when we are children. So the way we experience trauma when we are children is different to the way we experience trauma when we are adults. And so this whole system, if we really look deeply into it, children are not loved and cared for and nurtured. And maybe some of you have heard by now that there is some serious darkness that is going on in this world. And I have said it before, and I will say it again, that we are living in a totally satanic system. And this is the thing, many people have been confused through organized religion that the devil doesn't exist. But I have to tell you this, where good exists, evil exists also. This is the longest battle that has been in existence for as far back as, the Adam and Eve story, where evil was introduced. And as a result of this evil being introduced, so as a result of this evil being introduced, people have been totally skewed away from their original divinity. And the easiest way that I can explain this is that within each human being, we have both good and evil. There's an ancient Native American saying where they say, which wolf do you feed? Do you feed the light wolf or do you feed the dark wolf? Because depending on the actions that we take, depending on the things that we surround ourselves with, depending on everything, we are either we are either bringing more light into our life or we are bringing more darkness. But we have to understand that the darkness that we see in human beings is that this darkness is being controlled by something much deeper. And I will say it again, that most people are possessed. They are possessed with either parasites, they are possessed with, there are different degrees of evil within the world. But because people have not understood spirituality, they do not comprehend what is actually happening at this time. And this is where the problem lies, because since we have been taught to focus so much on the physical material realm, we forget that what actually dominates this realm is the spiritual realm. And so in this world, people will do absolutely anything for money, not realizing that those things that they are doing for money is actually maybe giving them freedom in this physical realm, but it is trapping their soul in another dimension. And most people think that, because we've been told and taught that, this is the most important life. When we die, we die. But that is not true. And this is what the Egyptians understood better than any of us, was that we live in order to die. This life is to prepare for death so that our soul can go to the right place. But the reason why we are seeing so much more supernatural activity at this time is because there are so many souls that did not transition to where they needed to go. And I talk a lot about this in last week's video. But because these souls have not been taught where to go, they become trapped here on earth, and they try to communicate with their family members, but because their family members are not spiritual, cannot understand the spiritual language or the spiritual signs that their family members are trying to send to them, they think that they are being haunted by a ghost. And it is crazy how often this is happening because people do not understand the spiritual signs. And when we talk about spirituality, this is not like religion. It is not at all like organized religion, whereby spirituality is about having a connection between your soul and the infinite creator. And now, nobody really knows who the creator is or what the creator looks like, or, everybody is different. And everybody needs to find their own direct access to the source, to the creator, to the Most High, to Yah, to Yahweh, whatever you want to call this being. But it is about having faith that this is not what we came here to experience. That what is happening at this time is because the vibrational energy of the earth is shifting, because divine feminine energy is rising once again. This is why we are seeing a return to spirituality. We are returning to the feminine principles of this planet. This is why we are seeing so much happening in Africa, because it is Mama Africa. And Mama Africa has had enough of the Western world pillaging and raping her people and destroying her people and keeping her people in oppression. And so all these shifts that we are seeing happening in all its different forms is a spiritual rising of divine feminine energy. And so today I've pulled some cards to gain some clarity as to what is going on and how you guys should be moving in order to kind of tune into this energy and to navigate these shifts that are happening at this time. So sorry, just before I get into the cards here, interesting because we've just recently had the opening of the Olympic Games. Now let's just take some time to remember some context here as to where the Olympic Games came from. So during the heights of the Roman, Empire, they introduced the gladiator games, where everyone was a slave, and basically to stop there being an uprising of all these slave beings is they created these games, basically saying where the slaves would have to fight each other to the death, and those people who would not be killed in these games, more like death games, those people who were not killed would essentially be freed. And I guess the Gladiator movie is a great example of this. But these games were created to honor the gods of Olympus, right? And so there was Zeus and all the other ones. I'm not very well versed in Greek mythology, so you can go and do your own research into that. But basically the gods of Olympus. And so they say that, and this is what disclosure is coming to tell us in the few years to come. And this is why all this information is coming out, is to prepare us for the truth about the world in which we really live. And the more people want to stick their head in the sand and pretend that these things are happening, the more difficult it is going to be for you guys to accept the information that is coming. Because let me tell you, what is coming out now is still the tip of the iceberg. And what is underneath the tip of the iceberg is so much darker than people can actually realize. And the thing is, this information, I'm going to be very honest with you, this information is absolutely horrific. People are really not aware to the darkness that governs our world, because remember, our world is not governed by human beings like you and me, but is governed by human beings that are being controlled by entities of a very, very, very dark nature. And if people do not start to build a spiritual practice and get connected with the one creator, it is going to be a lot more difficult to move through this transition, because disclosure is coming. Disclosure isn't yet here. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done in order to allow disclosure to come through. And so people really need to start preparing for the information that is going to start coming out, because I can tell you for a fact, me who has been researching for years and years and years, and it's interesting because my story is closely connected to my ability to have been able to find out this information, but it is dark. And people really need to start getting strong within their spirit and getting strong within their mental space, and also get strong within their emotional state, so that, because this warfare that we are going through is not the same kind of warfare that we had in World War One and World War Two. It is psychological warfare. And those who are not strong in mind and strong in spirit, they are not going to make it. So the stronger you get mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, the easier it is going to be for you guys to move through these transitions and somehow come out the other side without too much harm. So just coming back to the Olympics here, remember that the Olympic Games are a very satanic game. They are in honor and in worship of the old gods, and not the true God, not the one creator, not the God of love and harmony and joy, and the one who created this world of beauty and intelligence and harmony, but it is false gods. Gods that we have been worshipping and idolizing since as far back as Babylonia and Mesopotamia. This shit has been going on for thousands of years. The entire system in which we live has been built to trick us and to create illusions so that we cannot see with clarity what is happening all around us. Essentially, we're all hypnotized and we're all incapable of seeing with clarity what is going on. And this is why the sooner we can build our spiritual practice and open up our first eye, the more we will be able to see the deception that we have been exposed to since the beginning of time. And so it is not about learning anything new. And this is where it becomes complicated and difficult, because it is about unlearning. And it is harder to get rid of a habit than to build a new habit. But that is the process of shadow work. We have to start looking within us at all the things that do not make sense, because how many of us have been programmed to look at the world through the lens of somebody else's eyes? And so we have to wake up. We have to start having discernment. We have to start making decisions for ourselves and paying attention to the reality of what we are being taught, which is complete and utter bullshit. So if you go and look at the opening games of the Olympics, you will see all the satanic symbolism of what and you know, these games are used, when you think about how many thousands or if not millions of people were attending the Olympic Games, are watching these things on TV, all of that energy is being used to build a ritual. So everyone who watched this opening, everyone who was there at the Olympics, is unconsciously or consciously participating in massive black magic rituals. And your energy is being used, whether you are aware of it or not, to anchor in a certain timeline. And when you look at what was being shown in the opening of these games, you will see that they were using the energy of everyone looking to try and anchor in that reality, because if enough people are looking at things and enough people are believing things, then eventually they actually create that reality, because that is what the power of thought and emotion together create. We create our reality. So we have to start being aware of what we are consuming and what we are giving our energy to. Because this is how we are trapping not only ourselves individually, but trapping our families for generations to come into this awful, awful system that we want to call society. But I can tell you right now that there is absolutely no civilization in this system. We want to talk about civilization, the colonial mindsets that are still among us today, want to talk about how colonization was about civilizing the indigenous people of Africa. And even if we look back at colonization, not of just at the African continent, but for as far back as we can remember, that these colonizers were able to go and oppress the indigenous way of life across the board. And so we have to question why. Why was this so necessary? It was necessary to change people's beliefs so that people are not creating from a place of love and harmony, but are creating from a place of chaos and destruction. And that is what we are seeing in the world around us at this time. So much chaos, so much destruction. And I am telling you this not to create fear, but to give people an opportunity to prepare for what is coming. Chaos is going to just continue building and building and building. And you have to start questioning if this system starts falling. Well, it is already falling, but if the system totally collapses, we saw recently, I think it was a week ago or maybe just this past week, that there was a massive IT failure that affected so many different industries, meaning that we think that we are free as human beings, but yet we are so we are so dependent on these systems that do not benefit us at all. And so we have to start building systems that benefit us, we the people, as opposed to benefiting the systems that benefit the governments and the corporations that really rule our world. So let's see what the cards have to say. The first card we have is Sirius Star Blessings. Yes, proceed, be seen, push through. Those of you who have been feeling that something needs to change, that something within your environment, within yourself, within your life, something needs to change, you are being told, yes, proceed. Follow the calling of your soul. Follow the calling of your spirit. Follow the calling of whatever is maybe happening in your dreams. There is so much happening at this time, and we have to be more attentive to what is happening around us. So yes, you are being asked to proceed in the direction that you are moving in. You are being asked to proceed in the direction of prioritizing your spiritual life as opposed to your physical life. And so remember also we talk about Sirius, the fact that the pyramids are aligned to Sirius, and we have the 8-8 Lionsgate portal coming at this time. What's interesting is that last year on 8-8, I was in Egypt, actually at the Sphinx. And so the 8-8, which here in Kenya we are talking about being the new revolution, the new revival, the new Independence Day for Kenya. So the fact that this is falling at a time when Sirius B, this planet which most people didn't know about before, the invention of the telescope or whatever, yet the Dogons in Mali knew well about this planet well in advance of this technology being created to be able for people to see it with the naked, well, I don't know if it's visible through the naked eye. But anyways, they say that Sirius is our spiritual sun, and that when Sirius becomes closer to the earth, consciousness rises. And so they say that we are at the dawn of a new golden age. But yes, we have to, in a sense, disclosure must happen. All the darkness needs to be shown to people who have been incapable of seeing it, so that we never go in this direction again. Because like I've said in my previous videos, most people don't realize that they themselves are altars for the dark spirits to be able to control this world. So we are all being awakened, and what's interesting is that what is happening, especially with the melanated, which is absolutely crazy, because this spiritual sun is activating dormant strands of DNA, which is being activated when the sun hits our melanin. And so it's interesting because, I've spoken to several people who people think that they are going crazy, but what is happening is that they are having a super quick spiritual awakening, where those of us who have been on this journey for a while and have had time to transition into this new state, some people are being activated just like that. And it can seem scary, because you can literally think that you are going crazy. And I had a similar experience in, I think it was 2019, where I thought that I was going crazy. And if you do not have the right people around you giving you the right information, you can literally be led in the totally wrong direction. And this is why, for people who are in families who are not spiritual, it is super important that you protect yourself from your family, because they can easily send you in the wrong direction. And so I just want to say here for a moment that it is so important that people realize that family is another system in which we are born into. And especially within the African context, where we are told family, family, family is everything, but yet family fuck you over all the time and are the first ones to disrespect you and treat you like shit. I'm sorry to tell you that the most important family is the spiritual family. It is the family that you create. It is not necessarily the family that you are born into, because you cannot continue to pour love into people who do not pour love into you. You cannot continue to pour trust and forgiveness. I mean, yes, forgiveness is good, but you cannot keep holding on to people who literally want your downfall. And it is crazy to me how much within the African context, people have so much more power than they realize. And they are so quick to curse each other and to curse their family members, as opposed to use their power to curse those people who are actually cursing them. So just something to think about here. The next card we have is Aashik Stargate, aligned with purpose, crossroads, no wrong path. Yes, if you are following your spiritual intuition, if you are prioritizing your direct connection with the Most High God, then the information that you need is coming through to you. If you open your vessel up to receive the information, because now we are no longer operating on low-level human information. Most of us need to open up to receive messages of guidance from higher planes of existence, because the information we need to go through this transition cannot be found on this 3D plane. We have to now open ourselves up, open up our chakras, open up our crown chakra, open up our first eye chakra, to be able to receive these informations coming from higher realms and higher beings who are here to literally help us. But if we close ourselves off, we cannot receive this information. And so guidance is there. Guidance is coming from your ancestors. Guidance is coming from your departed loved ones. Guidance is coming from departed pets. Guidance is coming from your higher self. Guidance is coming from past versions of you. There is so much guidance, but we have to open up to hear it. Stop going and listening to the absolute bullshit nonsense that is being spewed by pastors in the church, who are actually part of this demonic Luciferian system and are trying to indoctrinate you into it. There is the only church that is of importance is your vessel. Remember, your body is your church. Your body is your temple. And as long as you are doing everything within your power to make your body the best version of itself, meaning consuming the right things, food and otherwise, content and such, and surrounding yourself only with the people who are going to elevate you in your frequency, then that is what you need to focus on. You need to get away from all the stuff that is making you feel shit. Get away from the shitty people, get away from the shitty jobs, get away from the shitty advice. There is no more space for these things. If things are not making you feel good at this time, it is time for you to walk away. And so interesting here is that there are multiple portals, multiple doorways for us to enter. And it's interesting because these are all mirrors. So if you look deep into your eyes and look deep into your soul, you will get the information of which door you need to enter into in order to move into the next steps of your evolution. So the next card we have is Sacred Inner Space. Sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is connected to our ability to feel. How many of us are actually capable of feeling? We're really not. Our feeling ability has been taken away from us, and the sacral chakra is connected to divine feminine. And so I'm not talking about gender here, I'm talking about energy. So this also relates to you men out there listening. Women are more intuitive and have easier ability to feel because the feminine energy is already present within us. But feminine energy is also present within men. But society has continued to repeat to you, no, 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 you are not allowed to feel anything. And right now, what we all need is tenderness, sensuality, and we need to be able to connect to that sacred inner space. And that means connecting to our feelings, asking ourselves, what are we feeling? Honoring what we are feeling. There is nothing wrong with feeling sad. There is nothing wrong with feeling angry. Everything you are feeling is 100% acceptable and okay. And it is important that you honor what you are feeling. Now, there is no need to get stuck in this feeling and start going into the story of poor me, the world is out to get me. No. Feel your feelings, nurture yourself, give yourself tenderness, give yourself that nurturing that you needed from your parents that you never received as a child, because what is happening is that our inner child, every single person on this planet, their inner child was wounded. And you need time to nurture your inner child and show them love and show them compassion, so that we all just need to be held and rubbed and told that everything is going to be okay. And that is what we are all looking for. And when we don't receive that thing, we lash out. That is what children do. They push their boundaries. And that is what we are doing with ourselves. We have to learn to be more tender, to be more loving, to understand that nobody is acting weird out of thin air. The reason why people are acting weird or strange or angry or unhappy is because things happened to them. Take the time to find out the context from which people are coming to you at, because everybody has experienced pain. Everybody has experienced trauma, and we just need softness. We just need love. We just need patience. We just need kindness, as opposed to just all this horrible shit that everyone is doing to each other all the time. I just don't understand it. So the next card we have is the world. Yes, welcome to the world. Be open. Once you start to tune into this energy, once you start allowing yourself to feel all that you are feeling, you will be able to enter the world. You will be able to open up to what the world has to offer you. You will be able to better comprehend why you are in this world. Because what we're all looking for is just to understand, why the fuck am I here? Why am I here? What is the point of all of this? And I can tell you, as someone who is very spiritual and very connected and has spent years and years really trying to tune in, you know, for years I had no idea who I was, and I felt so lost and I felt so confused and absolutely hated myself, and I hated my life, and I hated the world, and I just hated everything. But the more that I've learned to comprehend myself, and the more that I have built my spiritual connection to the Most High, the more I have overstood and understood why I am here. And that is what we are all looking for. We are just trying to figure out, why are we here? What is our purpose in life? And so, yes, you know, it's interesting because here, the world, you know, it's like standing on a like timer thing, and it's like the sand has worn out. And so it's like, now was the time to be fully present in the world, to show the world who you are. And it kind of, you know, this sitting right under this card of be seen, push through. So yes, you are asked, as Sirius blesses you with this new energy, do not be afraid to show who you truly are. Shine your light, shine the light that is wanting to burst through your heart. Shine, because how many of us have minimized who we are? We've made ourselves small in order to fit into this world which is so dense and so heavy and so full of pain. But the more you shine your light, the more you help others to exit the darkness that they too are in. So the next card we have is the Ace of Swords, and look at how there are all these eagles flying around the sword. And for me, what comes through here when I see the sword is the sword of truth. Do not be afraid to speak the truth. Do not be afraid to be a leader. You know, what I see when I look at these birds, these eagles flying high, is that they're able to see, you know, when birds fly high, they have a different vision than we do. They can see so much more than we see. And so when you are not afraid to stand in your truth and to look at the world from a higher perspective, then you will be a leader. You are here to anchor the truth, to be the truth, to speak the truth, to bring in the word of the Most High God, to bring in the word of the Most High Creator, who wants us to know the truth. And we have been living in non-truth for thousands and thousands of years, that now we don't really know what's going on, and there's so much information that's being put out there that we just don't really know what to believe, and that is okay. But that is why we have to go inwards, because when we are inwards and we make sure that we feel safe within our body, then the truth just begins to channel through us. The next card we have is the Three of Cups. And this card to me looks like celebration, right? Three is the number of the divine Trinity. And so when you are whole within your mind, body, and spirit, then you will be able to celebrate. And for me, I look at all this water. Water is all about emotion. And, you know, this is the number one thing that we shy away from. How many people are connected to their emotions? And those people who are connected to their emotions, they're told you're weak. Let me tell you, those people who are connected to their emotions, they have serious superpowers, because they are able to tune into what other people are feeling without the other person even having to speak. And think about how many mothers do this for their children. They're intuitively able to know when something is wrong with their child. And I think about being able to do this for people who are not connected to you, people who you did not birth into this world. Imagine if you had the ability to see straight away when someone wasn't doing well, and you could hold space for that person. Well, that is what is being called upon each and every one of us now. Those of us who are stronger in spirit, we are being asked to hold space for the rest of the collective who are not strong enough. Those of you who have found yourself onto this video is because you are strong in spirit, and you were sent here on this planet. Your soul was sent to be incarnated on this planet in physical form at this time to help others who are not as strong as you. You came here to be a light and to show others that there is a way through. That yes, we are going through turbulent, rocky waters, but if you have the right information and you have the right energetic frequency within your being, you will be able to move through these waters, slice through these waters with complete ease and clarity. So the next card we have is the energy of Dryad. And so Dryad, I believe, was... so this is from the Goddess, Gods, and Guardians Oracle cards. And so I think the Dryads were from... I don't know, when I look at the cards, it makes me think of like Celtic or Irish areas, makes me kind of think of like, you know, fairy beings that live in that live in nature. And the energy that's saying here is protect your energy. Yes, I've spoken about this in a few of my previous videos, notably the last two videos, where I'm saying that it is very, very, very important at this time, now more than ever, that you be protecting your energy, that you be protecting yourself spiritually. Now, it's interesting because when you start working with energy, it goes completely against how we normally work in the material world. So just an intention has the ability to shift your energy. So simply putting yourself in a ball of protective white light, what I like to do is I like to tune into my heart space and expand from my heart space all around me a protective ball of white light. And as I create this ball all around me, it first starts in my heart, and I see the ball getting bigger and bigger and expanding out from the front part and the back part of my heart to be able to create a torus field. And with me at the center, almost as if my body is the battery, I create this vortex of energy all around me, basically saying that nothing can enter my energy unless I allow it to. That I put myself in a ball of protective white energy so that nothing can affect me. And so you just need to get into the practice of doing this all the time, especially as you're leaving your house, as you're engaging with other people, just setting the intention, nothing is allowed to enter into my vibrational field unless I allow it to. So protect your energy. Be very specific as to what you are giving your energy to. Wherever your energy goes, it means that your attention, what do they say? It's like wherever focus goes, energy flows. So pay attention to what you are giving your focus and attention to. You have to start being very, very conscious and specific and intentional about what you are giving your energy to, what you are giving your attention to, where you are giving your time to. So the next card we have is Hod, tell the truth. Now, for me, this gives me kind of like Mongolian vibes, gives me kind of like maybe Viking vibes, but it is important to tell the truth. Because remember, 2023 was the year of 7, which was the year of truth. Truth needed to come in order for us to tap into our solar plexus, which is the seat of our will. So the more we allow truth to come in, and especially truth for ourselves, because the biggest liars are ourselves to ourselves. Think about the stories that we continuously repeat to ourselves to try and make us feel better about something, and yet the story is a complete and utter lie. Now, of course, most of these stories that we tell ourselves, they started off as coping mechanisms when we were younger and we didn't know how to deal with the trauma that we experienced, or the excessive negative experiences that we were exposed to, as we didn't have the emotional or mental tools to deal with these things. We tell ourselves stories to try and make ourselves feel better. But these stories are our lie. And these stories, they turn us into a person that we are not really. So start to question, what are the stories that you have been constantly telling yourself and repeating yourself for years and years and years, that you actually now believe that they are true? And really pay attention to that internal dialogue. What are the stories you tell yourself about you? That I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, I am not lovable. These things are not true. These are false truths that have been implanted into you by people around you. People who feared your light all your life, so that they had to make you smaller than you were so that they could continue to shine. So pay attention to where you are not fully embodying and speaking your truth. The next card we have is Mother Mary, emotional healing. Yes, the world is going through serious emotional healing. And this is the thing, the entire world, the entire system in which we live has been built on trauma. But because our governments and all these, 3-letter agencies, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, United Nations and its World Food Program, all these different organizations that we seem to, basically the globalist organizations, which are the ones who are really pushing the whole New World Order. All of these agencies have basically are total narcissists that have been essentially gaslighting the entire human population for years and years and years, that we begin to believe that the things that we are feeling, that we have no right to feel the things that we do. Because the world and these agencies and these organizations continue to tell us, you are the problem, you are the problem, you are the problem. The fact that they say, oh yeah, we have to include all these carbon taxes because human beings are consuming too much and they're eating too much and they're driving too much. Yet the biggest issue is the corporations who are polluting at levels that are absolutely crazy, but then the corporations turn around and say, oh no, the individuals are the ones who are causing the problems. Well, if the governments who are supposed to be in control were not being lobbied by all these corporations who are in fact what is controlling the world, if the governments just said, or if we the people stopped consuming all these goods that are polluting the world and said, you know what, we don't want this shit anymore, the corporations would have to bow down to us. But we have been gaslit for so long, leading us to believe that we are the problem when we are not the problem. The problem is at the highest levels of society, but we allow these things to happen. We comply with their bullshit agendas and their bullshit rules, that we are all the ones now creating this system because we are in fear and we are in trauma, and we cannot see that we are being controlled at every level of society. We have to start questioning. We have to start going against the narrative and actually thinking logically and rationally. Does this make sense? And I can answer you this: nothing in this world makes sense. This world is totally demonic and satanic. The next card we have is Isle of Avalon, healing, returning to wholeness, transformation. Yes, this is what we are being asked. We are being asked to just sit back, relax, and go through a period of deep healing. Now, the world is constantly telling us we need to be go, 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 that our nervous system gets stuck in go, 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 that our mind cannot actually think clearly and rationally, that we think that if we're not go, 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 go at all periods of life, at all moments of time, then we are being lazy. We cannot heal when we are constantly on the go. We need to just stop and pause and take a moment to just breathe and just feel what we are feeling. But we all run away. We've been taught to fear what we are feeling. We've been taught to fear all these negative experiences that we are having in our body. Yet all these negative experiences that we are having in our body is our body literally telling us, hello, wake up, something isn't right. But we ignore and we go to the pharmaceutical industries and we depend on them to save us, yet they are the ones poisoning us so that we can get sick. Remember, pharmakia is spoken of in the Bible, and it literally means witchcraft. The pills that people are taking from the pharmaceutical industry, it is what is keeping you in a state of hypnotism so that you cannot think for yourself. You cannot rationalize. You cannot think logically. You are literally hypnotized. The next card we have is stagnant waters. Yes, most of us have been in stagnant waters, feeling stuck. A call for shifts, flow, and change. And it is only when you stop and relax can you get into this point of being able to flow and change and allow new energy to enter into you so that you can move out of the state of stuckness. You know, Einstein said the only way to find a solution is not at the to find a solution to a problem is not by looking at it at the level of which the problem occurred. We kind of have to step out. And it makes me think of this card here. We have to move upwards and look from a bird's eye point of view to be able to see the truth of what is happening, not this bullshit illusion that we have been indoctrinated into. So we are being called to enter a time of shift, a time of flow. But the only way to flow is to get rid of the blockages. Water cannot flow if there is a blockage. We have to remove that blockage so that the water can flow again. And remember, we as human beings, this is a water planet. This is not an earth planet. There is more water than earth on this planet. There is more water in our bodies than anything else. And so this is why, remember, the emotions are constituted and controlled by water. So the more that we get in tune with our emotions, the more we are bringing our emotional flow, our emotional state into flow, and things will move with ease. The next card we have is the wellspring. What are you thirsty for? Yes, what is it that you desire? Body care. Take a breath. Yes, look after your body. Ask yourself, how can you slow your life down? How can you bring more moments of calm into your life? How can you bring more moments of stillness, of calm, of of slowness, of nurturing, of self-love, of self-care. How can you make yourself feel good? The reason why so many people cannot sleep is because their nervous system is like this. So much anxiety, so much going on. You cannot be still. You cannot sleep. You cannot rest because your nervous system is out of control. By just breathing, taking long inhales and even longer exhale, you are starting to soothe your nervous system and allowing your brain to think rationally and logically as opposed to thinking out of survival and fear. The next card we have is the Water Oracle. Psychic abilities, acting on visions. It's destined. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the information coming through psychically. Pay attention to the information coming through when you are in meditation or in prayer. Pay attention to what is coming through when you are journaling or automatic writing. There are so many messages that are wanting to come through to you, but unless you open yourself up and trust the information that is coming through to you, because each and every one of us need to navigate this journey in our own way because we are all different. So if you open up and you ask for information to come to you and you trust the information that is coming through to you and you act on that information, you will be okay. The next card we have is Lady of the Lake. New beginnings. Something is about to happen. And interestingly enough, she's also holding a sword here. Something is about to happen. It feels like she's about to stab something. And if you look closely, there is a swan. It's like the true you is emerging as long as you allow these things to continue to unfold. Trust that a new beginning is here. And for this new beginning to fully anchor, you cannot behave in the same ways that you were behaving previously. And last but not least, we have deep sea diving. Way of the mystic. Yes, you are becoming a mystic. This is what is happening to you. You are no longer just a random, as we say in Kenya, kawaida human being. You are now becoming something more. Your soul mission is activating. Do not fear it. So, way of the mystic, learn through experiences. Depth. Yes, you are being asked to dive deep into yourself so that you may experience who you truly are. And let me tell you something is that if you are a mystic, light worker, starseed, shadow worker, dark disruptor, whatever you resonate with here, life has been initiating you. Life has been preparing you to take on this journey. But you have everything you need to move through this time. You are so protected. Just call out to your ancestral guides, call out to your spirit guides, call out to the Most High, call out to whatever energies you resonate with most. I resonate a lot with the fairies. I resonate a lot with the unicorns. I resonate a lot with the nature spirits. I resonate a lot with the flowers and the trees. So whatever makes sense to you, remember when we are dealing with mysticism and spirituality, no rules apply other than the ones that make you feel good within yourself and good within your heart. So I hope that these messages will be helpful to help you continue moving through these shifts. I would love to hear from you what you are experiencing, what shifts that you are experiencing. And I am sending you so much love, so much strength, so much power. I love to hear from you. So do feel free to share whatever you are experiencing and share this video with whoever you feel might resonate with its contents. Sending you much love, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye for now.